Right. Claire, you are clear to begin whenever you are ready.
Great. Thank you, Jesus. Welcome everyone to the February 23rd, 2023 meeting of the CB6 Business Affairs and Licensing Committee. My name is Claire Brennan and I'm the chair of this committee. I just want to make sure, can you all hear me? I just got a notification that my internet is unstable, which is concerning, but.
I can hear you fine.
Okay, thank you. Tonight we are joined by District Manager Jesus Perez, and this meeting is called to order at 6:34 p.m. As a reminder, New York State law now requires all community board members to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. If your camera is not on and your name is not properly displayed, you cannot count towards quorum. Members of the public, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. If there is time following the committee's discussion, we will field all questions. We will field questions from the public, maybe all of them. We need a volunteer to take minutes at tonight's meeting. If you can take minutes, please raise your hand. We're kind of a small committee, so let's see, people will have to do it again.
Susan has her hand up, but Susan has done it like 4 or 5 times in the last year.
That's a very good point.
I mean,
I would volunteer, but my timeliness has not been exemplary since we're approving the October minutes I took tonight. But I will do it if no one else can do it.
Jason, could you possibly do it? You haven't done it yet since you've been on this committee.
Yeah, I could take a stab. I mean, I could just follow the model of the other minutes.
Yes, and there's a helpful template on the website we can easily send you.
Sure.
Do as some of us say, and not as we do.
No, once, I appreciate everyone's work here. So Jason, thanks for stepping up. I'm here, if you have any questions or need clarifications, I'll definitely help you. In the board office is obviously really supportive in this exercise as well. So thank you. And thanks Susan and John for stepping up first, but Jason, you're going to do a great job and we appreciate you. So now let's take attendance.
All right, good evening, committee members. I will call your name and you will unmute yourselves. When your name is called, please say present. I will announce if there is a quorum. Claire Brennan.
I am present.
Thank you. Paige Judge.
Present.
Thank you. Anton Molnar.
Present.
Thank you. Seema Shah.
Present.
Thank you. Susan Steinberg.
Present.
Thank you. John Keller.
Present.
Thank you. Kevin O'Keefe.
Present.
Thank you. Jason Littman.
Present.
Thank you. All 8 committee members are here. Perfect attendance tonight.
Awesome. Great job. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and appears on the screen before you now. If there's no objection, we will the agenda as stated. Members of the committee, if you would object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand through Zoom. I don't see any hands up, so the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from the October 27th and the January 26th meetings were distributed ahead of time. Sorry, I don't know what just happened. But I hope this doesn't persist throughout the night. I'm not sure where I was, so
We're distributed ahead of
time. The minutes, what you're saying. Yes, we're distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there's no objection, we will adopt both of these minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting either set of minutes, You may raise your hand through Zoom and indicate which set of minutes you have objections to. I don't see any objections. I just want to keep moving while I have this internet running right now. So seeing no objections, the minutes from the October 27th meeting and the January 26th meetings are adopted and will soon be available on the CB6 website. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe some ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. Committee members, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. The chat function should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. When a committee member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you and you can unmute yourself so that you can speak. Committee members are required by the state open meetings law to have their Zoom cameras on and your first and last name displayed during tonight's entire meeting, from call to order to adjournment. If you must step away from your computer briefly, you are required to leave your camera on. That's all. So now we're gonna get started with the agenda. And first up, I also just want to say, as you all have seen, the fourth item on the agenda is a presentation by the New York Civil, I've actually practiced this because it's a tongue twister for me, but the New York Civil Liberties Union on the licensing of massage parlors. And they kind of had a little bit of a time constraint. So they're going to start right at 7 o'clock. So if we don't get through the three items before 7, we'll just squeeze them in then. And I hope that's okay with everyone, but that's just how it has to happen. And just wanted to share that before we get started here. But first up is a new on-premises license for Watami Lee 88 Inc. Doing business as Watami at 913 2nd Avenue. Is there a representative from Watami here tonight?
Yes. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
I don't know whether I come to the right space because I'm among the members' pictures. And also Mei Yun Lee, the president. Can you please unmute? Mei? Can you please unmute? Yes.
你听得见吗？
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good evening, members. My name is Jian Du from Michael Floyd Inc., representing Watami Lee ADA. And Watami Lee ADA, they do business as Watami Sushi, located at 249-259 East 48th Street. It's on the ground floor, AKA address 913 2nd Avenue, New York, between East 48th Street and 49th Street. As you see, Miss Mei Yun Lee, she is a solo president of this business. She will open the authentic Japanese restaurant to serve this community. And she's thinking for on-premises liquor license. The previous business in this location was a Chinese restaurant with on-premises liquor license, and the business was closed because of a COVID pandemic. The restaurant has 16 tables, 1 full bar, 1 sushi bar, total about 68 seats, including 8 bar seats and 8 sushi bar seats. And there are 2 TVs, no sound with a subtitle only. The business will be from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. a weekday, and 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 12 p.m. to 10 a.m. on Sunday. The business only play the recorded soft background music, no outdoor services, no private party, no outside promoter, no pre-fee charge parties. They have a happy hour time from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., 7 days a week. Miss Mei Yun Li, she has over 20 years restaurant experience. She also owned a restaurant in Deer Park, the similar business. And then she closed that business. Right now she moved to the Manhattan. And she will be managing the business all the time, make sure the business is in good order. And also her families, her brothers, her husband, they all maintain, run this business as a chef. So I'm ready for the questions.
Thank you so much for walking us through. Appreciate the information. I'll open up to the committee. Does anyone have any questions? Susan?
Yes, I just wanted to know, you had mentioned that it had been a Chinese restaurant. So did you have to renovate the interior, and are you open now, or will you be open soon?
Now, right now it's under construction. Yes, they're going to renovate everything. And the blueprint, everything is already submitted to department building.
When do you think you will be opening? What is your hope?
I think right now the department building is still reviewing the blueprint, plan, and then there should be issued a permit. I would say at least 2 to 3 months, construction and permit everything.
Thank you.
Sure.
I guess I had a question. So are you applying for a temporary license, or what's the...
let me ask May.
你
要申请那个临时酒牌吗？你那个装修大概多久？
临时酒牌我不要了，我现在图纸都还没画好，装修
Okay.
我看4个月都搞不定，应该。
Okay, I think that we probably not go for the temporary permit because the construction may be not ready by the time if they're applying for, say they waive the temporary permit.
Got it. So you're just applying.
Yeah, go straight directed to the license.
Okay. That is helpful. Are there any other questions from the committee? Windows open there too. I don't see anyone's hands up.
All right.
So is there a motion?
Motion of no objection.
Thank you,
Second.
Susan, and thank you, John. And thank you, Jesus, for pulling this up. So it's a resolution of no objection. So we're not saying temporary, it's just a new license.
Okay. Oops. Oh, sorry.
No worries.
I'm all over the place tonight. Okay.
Great. And thank you both for being here tonight. It's a Japanese restaurant with a full food menu. Thank you for filling that out. Are these the hours that?
I think the hour is not 4 a.m. Yeah, it's 11 to, let me see. For weekdays, 11 to 10.
Okay.
And then the weekend, 11 to 11. Yes. And noon to, yes. Sundays noon to 10 p.m.
Okay. All right, and before we move on to the bottom part of this resolution, Ms. Du, everything here is correct?
Yes, everything here is correct.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on. Committee, are there any stipulations?
No.
Okay. Are there?
Sorry. It like cuts out and then comes right back really quickly. So I have no idea what's going on, but I'm just gonna keep working with this. Sorry about that. So there were no stipulations, no comments for or against.
Is anyone here to comment?
I don't, there are like members of the public, but
Okay.
sorry.
I can't see any
Yeah,
hands
but-
with the screen
Yeah,
share.
I don't see any hands, sorry, yeah.
Okay.
There are people here. If they did. And while Jesus is just wrapping this up, we'll just go through it as we have of late. If anyone does have a vote that is something other than in favor, please raise your hand now. And I'll give you some time to do that. Seeing no hands, this resolution passes at the committee level. So thank you both again for being here and for walking us through your application. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
我们可以了是吗？
Okay, so next up is a new temporary on-premises license for East River Charter Rentals LLC, who are doing business as TBG at 2430 FDR Service Road East, also known as the Skyport Marina. Do we have a representative from this application here tonight?
I saw him.
I saw him too.
Mr. Flynn?
Let me see if he like went down to participants somehow. I am not sure what happened there.
And he's actually here for the second and the third applicant. So
Hmm.
I need to get him back.
Darn it.
Let me check my email and see if he's emailed me. I don't see anything. Seems to be.
Oh, I see a hand from attendees.
See if this is
Uh,
into that. Mr. Quinones, are you here for this application?
Yes, I'm here. I have my hand up. Yep,
Okay.
that's me.
All right, well, we're waiting for, we saw Mr. Flynn, the attorney, but he seems to have gone away. Hopefully he comes back. Maybe he is having technical issues. Are you a principal of this application?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's an old picture.
okay. Well, Claire, maybe if Mr. Quinones is able to talk about the application, he can start and the attorney can join in once he gets back.
Yeah, that worked with me. Sorry, I just cut out briefly. So Mr. Quinones is here on behalf of the applicant.
I'm on behalf of East River Charter Rentals LLC. Representing the
Great.
vessel Avalon and the vessel Cabana.
Awesome. So do you mind just walking us through your application?
Sure. We're located at 2430 FDR Drive, Skyport Marina. The cabana is located in the front of Marina Slip 2. The cabana is located, the Avalon, excuse me, is located in the south side of Slip 4. Let me see what any specific questions, or just give you a brief description of the vessel itself, what we cater to, corporate meetings, bar mitzvahs. What else? We do not deal with promoters. Sometimes we do have a live DJ on board. Only one level bar on the main deck, which is the first level. The vessel Cabana has 20 tables. The vessel Avalon has 15 tables on the main deck as well, also located with the main bar. Just one bar also on the main deck as well. Let me see what else. There are a lot of rules there in the marina. There's no music at any time allowed to be played in the marina. Music is only allowed to be played once the boat is about almost a mile away from the marina, beginning at the 14th Street Powerhouse, about 7 city blocks south of the marina, is when music is allowed to be played. And then going north of the marina, music is only allowed to be played when you reach the western end of Roosevelt Island. And see, those are some of the rules. What the rules been that's pretty much it. Straightforward hours of operation depending on the date. Either to the charters are in slots of 4 hours, half hour for boarding, 3 hours while underway, and then half hour for disembarkation. Our time slots are from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., and sometimes 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And then the other boat sometimes is from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., and 11 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Okay, great. And sorry, so are you applying for a temporary license or is this?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last part.
Yeah, sorry, my internet is being frustrating
No,
this
it's
evening.
okay.
But, are you applying for a temporary license or?
No, going straight for the permanent license, the liquor license.
Okay. Is that what that said on?
We got from the questionnaire and 30-day notice.
Yeah.
That it was for a temporary license.
Yeah, starting off with the temporary.
Yes, for both.
Yes. Yes.
And then, so you are applying for a temporary license?
Yes. And
Is that because?
it's to transfer the liquor license over to East River Charters, correct?
So that's because it was existing under another.
Yes, on the other vessel, the Half Moon and the Cabana.
Okay. I see Paige has a question.
Yes.
Paige?
This is the former owner came in front of us and we were very insistent that when the people depart from your vessels, that there is some kind, especially late at night, that you have some mode of transportation in case they have invited too much. Will you be providing the same thing so that they don't walk out and walk right onto the highway?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We also have one security guard for every 50 guests, for every 50 passengers.
Okay, great.
And the security guards also stay on premises until the entire loading area is cleared, boarding area, the docks, and including the streets, because to the north side of the marina, there's a school there. So we have to keep the passengers. We have to keep the passengers south of the marina.
That makes
Thank you.
sense. Good question, Paige, and thank you for the answer. So
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Mr. Quinones, the Half
sir.
is the name of an old vessel, right?
Yes, the Half Moon.
Okay, because we part of the materials that were submitted to us was a menu for a Half Moon, and I wasn't sure whether the vessel was called Avalon or Half Moon.
No, Half Moon. Half Moon.
Wait, is it Avalon or is it Half Moon?
Half Moon, sir. Oh, did I put down
So
Avalon?
moving forward, it will be.
Half Moon and Cabana. Half Moon, the 200 passenger, and the Cabana, the 300 passenger boat.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well, because you started saying Avalon when you were speaking earlier, so.
I'm so sorry. Is one of my not the commercial boat, my own private boat is Avalon. I spend a lot of time on her.
All right, so it's a 200 person vessel called Half Moon.
That's correct.
The other vessel
The
is
cabana,
the Cabana,
the
which is
300 passenger.
okay.
Thank you for that clarification. That makes sense? Jesus.
And you guys are applying, because only one 30-day notice was submitted, but it was mentioning both. You guys are applying for separate licenses for each, or one license to cover both?
Separate license for each.
Okay. So Claire, I mocked up, just anticipating this, I mocked up two resolutions. They effectively say the same thing. It's just one's for the Half Moon and one is for the Cabana, and it has the details modified for each.
That's perfect. Thank you, Jesus. Are there any other questions or motions from members of the public? I mean, committee and members of the public as well. So no questions, but maybe a motion.
Motion with no objection.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
Is there a second?
Second.
Anton, I see Kevin's hand up. Were you seconding it or do you have a question? It's down now, so I assume.
I was seconding.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you for raising your hand. It's okay. I keep it casual sometimes, so. Oh, that's helpful. Thank you, Jesus. Getting really close to the camera here to see. So, Susan, your motion was of no objection.
Correct.
Great. And yep, so thank you, Mr. Quinones, for being here. So.
All right, so Mr. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this right here, this looks good. You guys still don't have a TBD, I mean, a DBA trade name, right?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right, and you are Christopher Quinones, principal.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right, so I'll take Terrence Flynn's name off because he's back.
Oh, okay.
And all right, so I'll leave him on, I guess. Terrence Flynn, attorney, and Christopher Quinones, principal. Today's the 23rd. This resolution concerns the 200-person vessel called the Half Moon. These times, are they correct here?
Yes, sir.
1 p.m. to 5 p.m., 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., and 11 p.m. to 3 a.m.
That's correct.
Okay. And any stipulations from the committee?
Not that I heard.
Okay. And I didn't see anyone from the public.
Raise their, it's me neither.
Okay. So no objection. All right, so and we'll just pop the other resolution on real quick. It essentially looks the same. 1 second. Okay. We'll go ahead and put Terrence is back. $300-person vessel called the Cabana.
That's correct.
All right, same hours.
That's correct.
No stipulations, committee. I'll take that as a no.
No.
No,
Nope.
no members of the community had anything to say.
Mm-mm.
Objection. All right. Well, in the interest of time, do you guys want to vote by unanimous consent for both at once?
Yes, please. Thank you, Jesus.
Anyone object? Raise your hand. All right, these would both pass through committee unanimously. 8 in favor, no opposed. And it looks like we're done with this one.
Thank you, Jesus. And I see that our friends from the New York Civil Liberties Union have joined us. Thank you so much. Jared and Elena, sorry, you can correct me. But thank you again for joining us. And we appreciate you being here. We know that we have you for a limited time. So we're going to move on to this agenda item, which is a presentation from the New York Civil Liberties Union on the licensing of massage parlors. The office sent around some background information to committee members. So hopefully you were able to at least skim through the report and learn a little bit more about on your own, but just some general background. And I think that they'll obviously delve into this more, but there are 36 licensed professions in the state of New York: architect, midwife, athletic trainer, and the Attorney General is responsible for investigating and prosecuting violations, but state law specifically directs local authorities to enforce licensing requirements only on massage therapists. So this is the only profession out of those 36 that are singled out here. So they're here to talk to us about a bill that they're pursuing and advocating for to remove the criminal penalties associated with unlicensed massage professionals in order to prevent seizure of property and criminal record for these folks. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to you both to enlighten us and share more. Thank you again for being here.
Cool. So thank you all so much for having us. We really appreciate the community board being interested in this issue. And it's, I just wanted to start off by saying, so I'm Jared Trujillo. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm currently senior policy counsel at the New York Civil Liberties Union. Before my current role, I was the president of the Public Defender Union. And I also teach at CUNY, which is where I am now, which is why I'm going to be rushing a little bit because we're on break at the moment. In addition to her role at Brown and being a badass, is at Red Canary. Just want to name that Elena's at Red Canary because this is a campaign that is really led by people that are closest to the pain of the criminalization of the practice of unlicensed massage. Red Canary just does life-changing work as far as I'm like talking about your organization, Elena, I'm sorry. But it's just, I think, really important to know that the people that are really leading this work are the people that are directly impacted. Let us really briefly talk about what the bill does and a little bit of what it doesn't do. Education Law 6512, 6513, and 6516 are all really weaponized by prosecutors to criminalize people that practice unlicensed massage. These are oftentimes or almost exclusively Asian women. 95% of the arrests that happen in New York are of Asian women. A lot of those folks are non-citizens, and a lot of these arrests are happening under the guise of helping people. But if you really want to help someone, the worst thing that you can do is give them a criminal record, which prevents their ability to get an actual massage license, to do anything else, to get housing, to stay in this country, to receive any of the necessities of life that they might need. Because of the racist nature of these arrests, which are problematic in and of themselves. And they also have unfortunately given NYPD vice officers license to really sexually harass and even kill massage workers, as in the case of Yang Song. What this bill does is it just decriminalizes the practice of unlicensed massage. It does not get rid of any civil penalties for massage parlors that practice without a license. It does not get rid of massage licensure altogether. It just ensures that the people that are practicing unlicensed massage cannot be arrested. Clear, as you noted, there are 36 licensed professions in New York right now. I'm a lawyer, I'm part of one of them. I can tell you there's been no instance where a prosecutor or defense attorney or any other lawyer that's unlicensed has ever been arrested under the statute. It is really the state really relegates arrests for the practice of unlicensed profession to only 2 professions in New York: unlicensed massage and midwifery. And what do those 2 professions have in common? That the majority of people that are practicing them are women of color. So what this bill does is it's, the name is not creative, it's just the Massage License Decriminalization Act. What the bill actually does is really straightforward. It just prevents people from being arrested from working. It prevents workers from being arrested for working. It prevents police from being able to seize the property of workers who are working. What that actually means in practice, and Elena could talk about this a lot more because she does so much of the on-the-ground work. It means that actually workers can work together for better working conditions. It means that people that were practicing a profession that is legal in the country that they migrated from are able to continue working and supporting their families and doing this profession in the place that they live now. And it ultimately means that police resources aren't being dedicated to people that are simply working under the guise of saving people. And again, the worst way to save someone is to put them through the criminal legal system. I can stop ranting there. Elena, if you had anything.
Thanks so much, Jared. I'm a professor at Brown, so unfortunately I don't live in your district, but my father and best friend do, and they are on this call. I'm here really to represent the perspective or the expertise as a scholar of human trafficking. I run a human trafficking research cluster through Brown Center for the Study of Slavery and Justice. In that capacity, have run a community engaged research project with Red Canary Song, where over the past 3 years, we've talked with hundreds of workers in New York and around the country. Most of the popularity and the endorsement around arrest for massage licensure has been to so-called rescue Asian massage workers from human trafficking. So there's great concern that this can be a site of extreme exploitation for Asian workers, and this is often like the moral clause that's been used to justify these arrests. But of the workers that we work with, Jared has mentioned Song Yang, but like two other workers who have died from fears of arrest at their workplaces, but numerous others who have faced like countless harms because they fear arrest on the basis of massage license. Under this regime of fear and increased surveillance, it makes it far more difficult for workers to actually report when they face instances of robbery, of wage theft, of sexual assault by police and or clients alike. And so we really see our work as organizing from a worker organizing perspective, that the best way to help people improve their working conditions is not by allowing police to come in and criminalize them and seize their assets, but by building a coalition of workers, worker support networks, so that they can continue to do peer outreach without the conditions of licensure. And we have lots of data to back this up. But the reason I think that the New York Civil Liberties Union joined us in passing forward this bill is because there was absolutely damning statistics that 90% of the arrests happening under this particular licensure clause were happening to Asian Pacific Islander women. And so when you have an agnostic law that's being disproportionately applied to police a specific minority group, and one in which, you know, is rife with undocumented workers, of mixed status, we see it really akin to the racialized policing of poverty. And only if we remove criminalization can we begin to get to some of the underlying exploitative, uneven dynamics that might be exacerbating dangers in these industries. So as concerned citizens who none of us hope for human trafficking in our neighborhoods, we often turn to arrest as the way to help victims. But of all the hundreds of victims that we have interviewed over the past 3 years, not a single one who's been arrested has said that they're victims of or have been, given T visas, have been acknowledged as victims. And B, most say that they're migrant workers who, once these massage businesses are closed, they're forced to other kinds of low-wage migrant worker industries. So the question often is, why is there so much concern around policing Asian massage work, but not the adjacent industries of home care work, of restaurant work, of nail salon work that have equal forms of like broad-based labor exploitation among them? Thank you.
Thank you both. Susan, I'll start with you. Thank you.
I was just wondering whether you had any statistics, how many unlicensed masseur or masseuse are there, say in Manhattan, for example?
We don't collect that kind of data. We work with, any Asian massage working business or migrant worker. There is an organization that does, it's difficult to, I think we don't try to seek out businesses based on whether or not they're licensed. We work with workers who are just working in the industry, but there is an organization that calls themselves The Network that does kind of data surveillance of different massage businesses. And I will add like the very important caveat that this organization universally equates any Asian massage business with one that is illicit. So their numbers are extraordinarily high. They boast figures of 13,000 quote unquote illicit massage businesses across the country. We see that as highly damaging because that is like equating all Asian massage businesses with the illicit and endorsing their criminalization.
Thank you.
And I also just want to note that, this is, the way the law is structured is actually against the individual, not against the business as a whole. So you could have, a parlor that has, where several people are licensed and then a few people aren't. And a few people might not be licensed for lots of different reasons. It's incredibly expensive. You have to have a certain level of English proficiency. There's certain citizenship requirements. There are just lots of different reasons why someone might be unlicensed. So it's not as black and white as this is a licensed place, this is a not licensed place. It's actually by worker. And you can even have instances where, a worker might be licensed or might be a cashier, just working at a place where a few people are unlicensed, and that person could actually be charged with a felony under Education Law 6513. So it's unfortunately the nefarious uses of this law to really just wrap a lot of people into the criminal legal system and prison industrial complex are quite broad, unfortunately.
Thank you for that clarification. So just a follow-up question. So enforcement officials will enter a business looking for an individual. Is that kind of what you see happens most, or is there
I think oftentimes they'll hear civilian concern that there might be presumptions of sex happening someplace. Public health inspectors, building code inspectors are often the ones who are dispatched to do preliminary information gathering to get the sneak and peek warrants, and they're often trained to identify signs of human trafficking. These often include things like the presence of food in a refrigerator as evidence that people might live on site, the presence of condoms on site, that sex might be happening. And these are really, really important because they may be indications of trafficking, but they are also ways that migrant workers, and particularly migrant workers during COVID, survived in like these exorbitantly costly areas of living, like New York City, and then particularly in Flushing where we work. Workers, to avoid exposing loved ones to COVID, chose to live on site. They oftentimes can't afford to live in other places. And so these are just matter-of-fact strategies that workers often choose that have been kind of manipulated to demonstrate proof that trafficking is happening. A decade and a half ago, condom as evidence law was actually struck down as unconstitutional because police were using condoms as evidence of streetwalkers. And they saw that actually decreased street-based sex workers' use of condoms because fear that they would be arrested for merely having condoms on them. And so it's in a similar vein, anytime you increase the policing of just different ways that people are trying to make it safely, we're not like doing justice to any of these causes.
Thank you. That was clarifying. Are you able to kind of update us on the status of the bill, or is it, going to be heard this session? Can you just give us a little more background about the bill in particular?
Sure. And I do apologize. I do have to run. I'm putting my information.
Oh, you just went on mute.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm putting my information to the chat. So the bill was introduced September 2021. We have around 20 sponsors in the assembly. It was just reintroduced this year, so I'm sure that we'll have even more. We actually don't have a Senate bill number yet, which is deeply troubling because this is something we've submitted it to the with a particular sponsor in September of 2021, which is why it's really great to have the support of your community board, and we're reaching out to other entities as well. There is the fact that we don't have a Senate number is, unfortunately, it seems somewhat intentional of a desire to not take action and to really have to hear some of the issues with this bill. Between us, we're hearing that after the Walking Out trans ban passed, which really dealt with discrimination against Black and brown, oftentimes trans women, the appetite to do something on this issue dissipated. And the idea was, don't the advocates have enough? And no, we actually want everyone to be able to live safely. So there is actually movement in the assembly, but right now we need a Senate number in order to get this bill moving. We've actually heard a lot of positive things from the second floor, from the executive, but until we get a Senate bill, this will be somewhat stagnant.
Thank you for that. And I know you have to leave. We really appreciate you being here in the brief little break that you have. I see John has a question, so I don't know if you can
Yes,
for that.
Mr. Trujillo, before you leave, if we were to move a resolution through this committee in support of the bill, even though it doesn't have a Senate number, would that be helpful to you? Because it sounds like something that we might, as a committee, consider doing if the chair agrees.
I think that'd be the most helpful thing. I think the biggest thing with this bill is honestly getting a Senate number. With the Walking Out trans ban, we know that there was a lot of the naysayers in the Senate did not want to pass the bill. The way we were able to get it done was just with community boards and so many other people supporting it. We actually got Republicans supporting the bill, so it was a bipartisan effort. And I think we'll probably need the same thing for this bill as well. So certainly having community boards like yours would be, and any groups that any of you are involved in from the community board, would just be really helpful in getting the Senate number, but then also in finally getting this bill across the finish line, and then getting the governor to sign the bill without any amendments. So again, thank you all so much for your time. I'm sorry to run. I'm going to start getting stink eyes from my students very soon.
They are lucky to have you as a professor. Thanks again
I
for your
appreciate
time.
it.
Definitely. And we'll be in touch. Good question, John. So it sounds like it would be supportive for us to write some sort of resolution here, but thank you, Elena, for still being here. And if anyone has any follow-up questions, I'm sure she would be happy to answer them. And if not, I would welcome a motion of some sort from someone. But, yep, John.
Yes, I will move a motion to support the legislation that Ms. Shi and Mr. Trujillo are here for, presuming they can give us a little assistance in the proper wording of it. But I so move. Unless you want to have further discussion, I don't want to cut off discussion.
No, I think it's pretty clear. I see that motion on the table. If anyone wants to second it, I will just say the bill is titled, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Massage License Decriminalization Act. So that would be, a motion in support of the Massage License Decriminalization Act. Does anyone want to second John's motion? Oh, Paige, I see your physical hand up, but you're on mute, so you just have to unmute yourself. Oh, you're seconding it, maybe. Were you seconding it? Yes. Great. Thank you, Paige.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. So Paige seconds that. Oh, great. And thank you for sharing the numbers here. That is helpful. So we had a second for just because this is a different resolution than your typical licensing one. Why don't we just go through it on roll call, and then we won't write it here tonight, but we'll work with, hopefully one of you can take the lead, and I'm ready to help as needed writing this resolution. So Jesus, do you mind just quickly taking roll of?
Not at all. All right, Claire Brennan.
In favor.
Thank you. Paige Judge.
In favor.
Thank you. Anton Molnar.
In favor.
Thank you. Seema Shah.
In favor.
Thank you. Susan Steinberg.
In favor.
Thank you. John Keller.
In favor.
Thank you. Kevin O'Keefe.
I don't see him anymore, sadly.
Okay. Jason Littman.
Not entitled. Just from the perspective of that I am friends with Jared Trujillo, so just
Okay.
want to remain not entitled.
Okay. With 6 in favor and 1 not entitled, this motion does pass.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you again for being here and for walking us through, and for all of your research and work on this cause. So, we as a committee, we do have to pick someone to write the resolution. There's a lot of information out there. It should be pretty easy to create a resolution based on, the information that Jared and I'm sorry, it's Elena, and sorry about that. I just don't want to be mispronouncing your name. But you've sent us a lot of information, so we definitely have some things to start on. I also didn't mention this earlier, but this is something that Kyle, who is on the call right now, really got started when he was the chair of this committee, and he followed through and really was instrumental in getting you both here. So he's willing to help whoever wants to write the resolution with that process. So is anyone willing to take a stab at the resolution?
I'll stab.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
You're very good at that. I appreciate it. So like I said, Kyle can help, so you can send it to both of us and we'll just amend it as we see fit, but there probably won't be many additions because you're very thorough. So thank you as always.
You're welcome.
And again, thank you so much for joining us. So just next steps, we'll write the resolution and then we'll bring it to the full board. So all members, and it'll be voted on then, and then the office will be in touch. Hopefully it passes full board and we can send you, the official resolution for you to use to encourage more folks to get on board and hopefully get a Senate bill and get the Assembly bill passed as well. So thank you so much again. Thank you for bringing your family and friends to join us as participants. It's a full house tonight, which isn't saying much, looking at only 5 attendees, but really appreciate, some extra ears on the Zoom. So yes,
Thank you so much for having us. It's wonderful to meet you and to be part of local governance in New York City life.
Yes.
Thank you all so much.
We're very happy to have you here. Thank you. Yeah, and we'll definitely be in touch. So if there's anything else you need from the committee, we're here and really supportive of your efforts. So
thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Have a good night. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. That was great. Now we'll go back to the third applicant that we have tonight. So that's a new, I guess also temporary on-premise license for City Tavern NYC LLC, doing business as to be determined at 181 Lexington Avenue. So Mr. Flynn, I see you on the screen. Are you here representing this business tonight? Oh, Terry, can you all hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Terry may be frozen.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see him moving.
I don't either. I didn't know.
Oh, he's moving again.
So Terry, are you able to just walk us? Can you hear us?
Oh, he looks frozen again. Oh,
hello.
Can you hear us? Okay, his lips are moving.
We can't hear you.
Still can't hear.
Still having a hard time hearing you. No, we can't. We can just see your lips moving.
Let's see. Nope.
No.
No.
Maybe, did he connect with audio?
That's a good question. When you were prompted, did you connect to audio?
Well, the way he was moving it around, it seems like he's on his phone.
Maybe I saw him wearing headphones. Maybe if they're still plugged in, unplug them. But we see you again. But I'm not hearing anything.
Let's see. Let me do something real quick.
No.
In that email that you got that has the link, there's a phone number that you can call in. If the video is not working, you can always call in that way, and then at least we'll hear you. And I can send the little link back to you again if that's helpful. I'll resend it now.
Thank you, Jesus. Seems like there are a lot of internet issues this evening. Must be something in the water.
All right, yeah. Terry.
Hello.
Oh, there he is. Hello.
How you doing? This is
Excellent.
Frank Falesto. How are you tonight?
Great. How are you? Sorry, who was this?
I'm well, thanks. This is Frank Falesto. I'm the applicant.
Oh, great. Thanks for joining us.
I'm sorry that my having the technical difficulty there. I don't know what I did differently this time on the Zoom that I've done 100 times in the past, but I got a different result this time.
No
So
worries.
apologies.
Of course, we hear you loud and clear now, so no worries at all. These things happen.
Okay, great.
So do you mind just walking us through your application?
Sure. I don't have it in front of me because I spoke to Jesus, but what I submitted was via that Airtable, which was 30 years in the restaurant business in Manhattan. That was the first time that I had to complete the form that way. Anyway, basically, I'm 30 years in the industry, and we are hoping to open what I would call like a high-end American brasserie. There, most recently, I own and operate a place at 118 Greenwich Avenue at the corner of 13th Street in the West Village called Jack and Charlie's. We don't have any TVs. It's a celebrity chef-driven concept, and I do envision this place to have some TVs, but it will be predominantly a restaurant, with American fare, high-end American fare, serving brunch, lunch, dinner.
Okay, great. Thank you. Do any
You're
committee
welcome.
members have any questions? I see Susan's hand up.
Yeah, I was just wondering what the hours of operation were and what is the capacity? How many seats?
I don't know exactly, but I would guess based on my experience and the square footage, because when I got in the space, it was basically just a shell, if you would. I would guess the occupancy is going to be somewhere around 300, 250 to 300. It's 2 floors. And for lunch, we'll be opening either at 11 or 11:30 in the morning, serving dinner to probably 10, 11 p.m., depending on the needs of the neighborhood. And brunch, we would open at 10 a.m. and probably, again, serve dinner then on the weekends until probably 10 or 11 on Saturday and probably 9 or 10 on Sunday evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anton has a question.
Yes, I saw on the application that you were contemplating putting up a street shed,
Yes, sir.
and you will be providing a separate application for liquor use in that street shed.
Whatever is required by law, yes.
When do you plan to put up the street shed?
I don't plan to put it up anytime soon, but having been a restaurateur through COVID, thank God for the street sheds, because that was pretty much the only thing that kept us afloat. And so I certainly will have enough space inside. But what I have found through COVID is that many patrons actually prefer to still be outside whenever possible for safety. So if it's allowed by law, I certainly will try to, construct it within the rules and regulations. Probably will cost a ton of money to get the new store open, so the street shed would be a secondary priority, but as soon thereafter as we can afford it from opening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Jesus.
Mr. Falesto, can you confirm, do you guys, as far as your trade name, is it still TBD, or because the menu that was submitted was for something called the Lost Fox Hideaway.
Yes, so the Lost Fox is a restaurant that I'm a principal in a group a restaurant group, and it operates out of Loudoun, Virginia. I just thought that it was really just a sample of what the food offering, the most accurate food offering that I thought would be most suitable for the space and the neighborhood.
Okay, so you're,
but that's the only thing to be gleaned from it.
okay.
And we have not established the DBA yet, no.
Okay. And just to be clear, because we see you, we have your name here as Terry Flynn. Terry Flynn was not here tonight. It's been you this whole time. Right?
It's me in the blue shirt with the bald head. Yes, that's me. I didn't look around too closely to see if Terry was on or not.
Okay.
But I've been here the whole time, yes, since 6:30.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Oh,
You're
is there
welcome.
another question?
And committee, do you guys want me to put up the street view again? It seems to be, this is the location that used to be occupied by Brother Jimmy's. Or do you want me to put up the reso or?
The reso.
Yeah, I think we're all familiar with the Brother Jimmy's location. Seems like it'll be a different vibe. Would you agree?
Wholeheartedly.
I did like their nachos though. Okay, so I think actually before we pull this up, well, you could have it up, but someone would have had to make a motion if there are no other questions.
This is Seema, motion of no objection.
Thanks, Seema. Does someone second that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Anton. So we have the resolution up. It would be resolution of no objection.
For a new, I'll read it out because since Mr. Falesto is on the phone, he may not be able to see this. So a resolution of no objection for a new and temporary on-premises license for City Tavern NYC LLC DBA as TBD for right now at 181 Lexington Avenue. Mr. Falesto, is that accurate?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and it is Frank Falesto who is here tonight and who is a principal of this establishment. Is that accurate?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. The proposed establishment will be a tavern / restaurant featuring a full food menu of American fare. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas the establishment proposes to operate from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. 7 days a week. We got that from the questionnaire. Is that accurate?
Not entirely, no. The 10 a.m. open would be just Saturday and Sundays for brunch. And then weekdays, Monday through Friday, would probably be somewhere 11 or 11:30. And then the closing time, I'm not sure what I put exactly, but I would say 2 a.m. on the weekends, Friday and Saturday night, and probably midnight, Monday through Friday.
All right, well, we do need to have, we need to have this to be as accurate as possible. Can you maybe follow up with me by email with the precise?
Yes, you want me to give you the specific breakdown by day?
Yes.
Sure.
So we can put it into the resolution. So 10 a.m. to 2
Yes.
a.m. Saturdays and 11 a.m. to midnight, you think, Monday through Friday.
Yes. And I'll sleep on it and I'll send you a detailed email tomorrow broken down by the day.
Okay. All right.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Great.
Okay. Committee, are there any stipulations?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Let me just make sure. I didn't see any hands up from the public, but I'll just double check.
Any members of the public here to say something about this establishment? Going once, going twice?
I don't see any.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so, yeah, other than Mr. Balesto will send us a more precise details on what the hours are, hours of operation are. But if the committee is okay with that, then, and there are no further questions, you guys can proceed to a vote.
Great. Thank you, Jesus, for walking us through that. I'll leave space for anyone who does not vote, cannot, or does not want to vote in favor of this resolution. You can raise your hand through Zoom or just unmute yourself and let me know. Otherwise, this resolution passes in our committee. So thanks, Frank, for being here and for bearing with us for the brief interruption. We wish you the best of luck and can't wait to see what you do with the space. So.
Much appreciated. We're very excited. Thank you. Have a great night.
Yes, take care. You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great. Bye. Okay. Jesus, is your hand up just from?
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem. It's fine. You don't have to. You know, there's a lot going on tonight. Excellent. So that was all we had on the agenda. In terms of my report, I don't have a lot to share. I do want to say that, and Kyle, you can kind of jump in if you want to, but the item on the massage parlors was kind of an effort to kind of like dip our feet into a larger issue of sex work as a whole. So I think that we'll be hearing back from Jared and other folks from NYCLU who are working on this topic, hopefully next month, but if not, the following month. So I appreciate everyone's thoughtful questions and attention to this issue. You know, when the board office sends us things in advance of the meeting, it really helps have for everyone to read it, you know, at least skim through it, you know, so we can have kind of a fruitful discussion. But I appreciate everyone's attention here. And I see Kyle, good to see you. If there's anything you want to add, please feel free. But yeah, just to be continued. And I just want to thank everyone because it, you know, these topics that I think, you know, we haven't really addressed as a committee, and I don't think that any other boards in the city have addressed them. So, you know, we would be kind of leading the charge here and hopefully creating change for people who are criminalized unjustly. So again, really appreciate everyone being here. And that's really all I have to say for my report. We can move on to old and new business. I want to hand it over to Anton because actually Sandy, who's not on our committee, but is obviously, as you all know, really involved with the board and various committees, suggested that we, you know, just touch base again about the open restaurant situation and what's going on with the city, the Department of Transportation. I don't think there's like a ton to update folks on, but I just want to touch base and continue the discussion. And again, I've said this before, but I'll say it on the record again, recusing myself from this conversation because of my conflict of interest. I work for the Department of Transportation. The agency who kind of is overseeing open restaurants. I don't work specifically on them, but I think it's conflict of interest board makes me bow out of this conversation. So I've expressed my gratitude to Anton for taking this on, and it continues. Thank you very much for doing some research before tonight and being able to give us a brief update whenever you're ready. Thanks, Anton.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'd love to give everybody a wonderful update of what's happening with this open restaurant program, but nothing is happening. This has become, I guess, a bit of political football because nobody's taking a real interest in this. There have been a couple of articles in January and February of this year. One of them quoting Speaker Adrian Adams saying that the council was almost there on striking a balance between residents' concerns and restaurant owners, and that a bill had been introduced and is being discussed. Now, this bill was introduced February 22nd, 22. So it's a year. And I checked the calendar for the city council as far as it takes me through end of April, beginning of May, and there's no mention of tabling or putting this item for discussion. So I don't have anything to report beyond that. I'm going to continue to see if I can get in touch with more individuals, hopefully in the city, to find out if anything is going forward. But right now, restaurant owners, concerned community members, and ourselves are still up in the dark as to what the city council is going to be doing on this bill. And in fact, whether even regulations have been promulgated or tentative regulations have been promulgated yet so that the city council can take it up. I'll try to get a better report, hopefully next committee meeting, but I wouldn't hang my hat on it. We'll see what goes on.
Thank you, Anton. And I know you've been paying attention to this since we passed our resolution a while back. So really appreciate all the work and holding folks accountable to this. So thank you. Does anyone else have old or new business to discuss? I think, John, we could, drop a little preview or discuss the forum that we're planning if you want to, or we can also save it. Sorry, didn't want to put you on the spot. And
no, it's fine. It's your call as chair. I sent something to Jesus to put up the one page to just briefly summarize where the thinking is. So Jesus, if you could put that up, and I'll try to be as brief as possible.
Okay. Wow.
Oops. I can't say it. Is it there? Or there we go.
No, I was having a.
Okay, no, that's a lot of technical problems tonight. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Just basically, with the guidance of the board chair and working closely with Claire and Elvie, we have come to a view that this is beyond a resolution, and that CV6 will host a forum, or is planning to host a forum on the proliferation of illegal smoke shops in New York City, with 3 objectives: to provide residents of our zone the opportunity to express to their elected representatives their views, provide elected and appointed officials with an opportunity to discuss their concerns about and response to the views, and to communicate, most importantly, to communicate to the residents of Manhattan Community Board 6 the seriousness with which our community board takes their views. So this is just a work in progress now. There is no time constraint like with redistricting. The forum format that's being discussed among us is a length of 60 to 90 minutes, virtual venue hosted by Kyle, sponsored by our Community Board 6 with the board office and designated committees working on it. This is not the work of any one individual. This is a team effort. We're going to hope to have potential co-sponsors since a lot of the impetus for this is coming from schools. We're going to ask the Community Education Council for District 2 to co-sponsor it, possibly public health officials, New York hospitals, and other organizations. The agenda, which is information, will primarily focus on comments by the members of the public, but we will invite statewide, citywide, and borough-wide officials to attend, and we could just jump down to the bottom to save a little time here. So the Office of Cannabis Management, statewide, citywide, Office of the Mayor, and the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, borough-wide, the Borough President, and the Manhattan District Attorney. As you know, District Attorney Bragg has been very, very active on this, and is actually invoking the Real Property Actions and Proceedings Law, Section 715, in support of evictions of pushing landlords and property managers to evict people who are doing this. And state senators and assembly members whose districts include CV6, city council members, and also we want to invite especially Gail Brewer, who is very engaged in this, and we're going to be consulting with Gail's staff on the action. Gail did a forum on this earlier this year, so I'm in contact with Gail's chief of staff, Shulamit Warren, on this in this regard. So we will be consulting very closely with them as to how they went about this. We're looking at a date in April or May. Specific day to be determined. That's about as quickly as I can go through that. That's an update on where we are.
Thanks, John. Yeah, we're working together, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if other folks on the committee want to have a bigger hand in the planning process or have ideas, I think we would welcome those suggestions. But
so I reached out in the last few weeks to people from the committee as well.
That's great. I see Kyle's hand.
Yeah, I just want to make a slight correction. So this issue isn't necessarily beyond a resolution. I think it requires more than just a resolution.
More than that, I haven't spoken
about. So I just want everyone to keep in mind that as we produce this, there is the end goal of putting together a comprehensive resolution on this, but it's not something that can just be discussed at a committee, but something that needs something bigger than just a committee meeting. So I just want to make that correction. So we're all in the mindset of like, there is something that's coming out of this forum. It's not just a free for all for people to vent, but that we're actually trying to get something out of this.
Good clarification. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, and thanks, John, for the update. Just thought we would add that as we wrap up as something to look forward to. And again, all the help that we can get is appreciated. Okay, I think that's about it for this evening. Let me just catch up to my script here. If there are no other questions or old or new business that people want to bring up, I would be looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting tonight.
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Anton. And that one doesn't need a second for whatever reason. So without further ado, this meeting is adjourned at 3 minutes to 8 p.m. As always, really appreciate you all. Thanks for being here tonight and have a wonderful weekend.
Good night.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Right.